Welcome to Mary Alice.
What did you do?
We are a Desperate Housewives recap podcast with me, Erin McGee.
And me, Jakub Tansey. Two best friends breaking down each episode until we answer the ultimate question, Mary Alice, what did you do?
Unless, of course, we have finished season 1, in which case, insert new mystery here.
Yes, there's a lot to unpack on Wisteria Lane.
Content warnings can be found in the episode description.
So get comfortable and let's get into this week's episode. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. We've had a very exciting week.
It's been a week. It
has been a week.
A week has occurred.
Time has passed.
This is objective fact. Recapping time.
No one can dispute. Although there was once I was in a bar and somebody sat me down with the worst man I've ever met, right? And I had the best time. You know the story already. Because I told him that I didn't believe in time.
Yes, I do remember the story. And what a great time it was to hear that.
I just think that if you're not invested in the conversation, just lie. I think I have to discuss on this pod today. I know that you're ready for this, Jakub. I've not had a good day.
No, you have not.
So basically, when I say I've not had a good day to the lovely folks at home, it's actually been fine. I am the problem.
Inconvenient.
I have been mildly inconvenienced, but I'm treating it emotionally as if something horrific has happened to me. So here's something that happened: is we go to my favorite place to get coffee every single week, and today they put, I think, cinnamon on top. Unprovoked, unhinged behaviour. I've gone there for 2 years and never got cinnamon on top. In fact, I don't think I've ever gotten a flavoured coffee from there. They know that I don't want the syrups. They know I don't want anything fancy. You even get your regular milk. I even get dairy like a heathen, right? So that happened. But also, I was staying at my friend's house last night, woke up early to come to get onto the pod, and we had a Chinese takeaway last night, which was absolutely delightful. And there were leftovers, which was even more delightful. I was excited. I was hyped. She gave me a lift to the bus stop just as the bus was approaching. I said, this timing is impeccable. And she'd given me my Chinese takeaway in a little co-op bag. And then something happened. Things started going wrong. I was looking down. I said, what happened? Did I drop something? There was milk on it. What's going on? The bag had a hole in it, but the bus was right there. So I'm just holding bits of, I'm holding a tub of chow mein, a tub of curry sauce, and some milk, because I drink dairy milk like a heathen, as previously established, and she is dairy intolerant, so I had to take it with me. And then I'm trying to get on the bus and reach into my pocket, and everyone on the bus is sighing at me because I am taking so long, and I wasn't okay. So when I bring out my autobiography, My Struggle,
this will be a core memory that's referenced.
This will be an entire chapter. Anyway, what about you? What have you been up to this week?
Well, I think this is the first time we've recorded since I said I was about to start my flat hunting journey.
Yeah. Now, you go on so many journeys. I love that you always say journey.
I need a whole spreadsheet just to keep track of my journeys, hopping back and forth. But I've been doing that for a few weeks now, and it's not fun.
If only someone had told you that it wasn't fun before. Be honest, right? Don't mess with me. Did you think I was exaggerating?
No, I really didn't. I knew it was going to be tough, but I think because someone in my life went to one viewing, put in an offer, and that was accepted later that day, I just was like, that could be me too.
I was the other way around. If I'm fully honest, I thought people who were searching for homes were making too big of a deal about it. And karma came to kiss me right on the face. Just a little that knocked me out.
There we go. Well, whatever episode it was that we initially talked about that, if you remember, I compared house hunting in the house market to dating.
Yes.
So I'd like to expand on that analogy a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm actually going to tuck in for this. I'm going to be locked in.
Basically, of all the flats I've viewed, there's been 2 which I fell in love with from the listing, looking at the pictures. But I didn't really get a chance to look at them properly because they were sold too quickly.
Wop, wop.
And then there's been a couple which I've basically I've arranged a viewing, but it was for a good few days later. And I've had time to sit with that listing, to look at those pictures again and again, visualize my life there, really paint an image of what this place is like.
Yeah.
And so then, good or bad, when you turn up to the flat for the viewing, if it doesn't match your expectations and the pictures, even if it's in like a good way, it's disappointing. It's not how you envision things. And it's the same with dating. If you are chatting to someone on an app for too long before you meet them, you've got an image of what this person is like in your head, even though their pictures are probably photoshopped and they're giving you a very specific version of themselves online, very procured. And then you meet them and they could be even better in some ways in person, but it's not the person you're expecting to meet. And that's disappointing.
I agree, because I think that dating apps create a false sense of intimacy. And I think really you should be like, hey, have you got a bit of chat? Cool, let's meet for a date. Because otherwise, you're projecting all this other stuff that doesn't exist. They're projecting a bunch of stuff that doesn't exist. And then you're like, oh, I'm kind of getting weirdly invested in this thing that isn't quite real. What I thought you were going to say was some people are fixer-uppers.
Well, that's also true.
Some people are new builds. What would a new build be? A new build is somebody who's never been in a relationship before.
But that doesn't feel right, because a new build would be great to live in a lot of ways, whereas first relationship, I don't know what all.
No. I think
we've compared the first relationship to a starter home before, and I think that's more accurate. So a new build, that's in it. I'll have to mull it over. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I would say I would compare my partner to a new build, because he hadn't had a serious relationship before me, and as such, I got to pick the carpets. I got to pick the wallpaper. I just said that for the joke, but it's really funny.
Oh my God.
He's going to kill me for saying that. But how funny is that?
That is so funny.
Sometimes,
I'm obsessed with that.
Rory listening, if you're listening, sweetie, you are on the other side of the door right now. But if you're listening, just note that I only make fun of you when it's funny.
And therefore it's okay.
Yeah. I don't think I was a new build. I think I was... I would say I was 2s and 3s on my home report, if you know what I mean.
The girls who get it. The home buyers who get it.
And there was a factor fee.
Speaking of house hunting, this episode is episode 19, titled Live Alone and Like It. And I would love that if someone I liked just accepted my offer.
Oh. To be fair, you've not put in any offers yet.
Because it gets sold before I can put in an offer. But yes, this is episode 19. There's ups and downs on this episode.
I thought you were going to say it's a great one. It's not my favourite. I will say, so Gaby's arc in this episode, Susan's arc in this episode, could have done without either of them. However, I really liked Mike's.
Yeah.
And we'll get there.
We're gonna start there after the cold open, of course.
Start there. Do you want to cold open it for me, baby?
Let's do it.
Woo.
Mary Alice voiceover starts by telling us about a fantasy that Lynette frequently daydreams about as she takes out the trash. She dreams that her nasty neighbour Karen McCluskey would drop dead and that a nice Swedish family would move in next door. And this is all shown to us in one delightful shot where we see Mrs. McCluskey watering her lawn suddenly keel over. A moving truck drives in and out of shot, revealing, standing behind it now, this perfect family with 2 twin daughters all waving in unison at Lynette from across the street. Mary Alice continues, saying that she dreams of the 2 families getting on swimmingly, and then we cut to the 2 sets of twins at an elaborate double wedding that the Scavels did not have to pay for.
No.
Lynette's bubble is burst, however, when she steps outside with the trash, and Mrs. McCluskey is in the process of stealing her garbage cans.
Whoa!
She's sarcastically commenting that trash pickup was 2 days ago, but the cans were still out there, so she assumed Lynette didn't want them. And they continue to bicker as Lynette takes the cans back.
Why is Karen doing this, by the way? I understand it's kind of just to annoy Lynette, but the physical labour of moving 2 of the buckets is so unnecessary.
Well, I think, as we'll see, I think she's just lonely.
She just wants attention.
This is the only way she knows how to interact with Lynette at this point.
It's a bit like a badly behaved child. And quite often, any attention, even if it's negative attention, is still attention.
It's very that. They continue to bicker as Lynette takes the cans back, Karen slagging off the colour of her house, which, by the way, is the colour I imagine my future living room to be. So don't slag that colour, Karen.
What colour is it?
It's like a sort of faded olive colour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which house it is now.
Yeah.
I know them by the colours, not by the people in them.
Yeah. And so in return, Lynette tells Karen to go live in a nursing home run by Germans.
That was wild.
That was wild. And then
I felt that was unnecessary.
yeah, it was a bit like, okay, let's tone it down a bit. This is not like the most extreme negative relationship in your life. You are married to Tom.
Well, she does. Well, she does call previously Karen McCluskey her arch nemesis.
That's true. That's very true.
But I also would say I just didn't understand the German joke. I just didn't get it. And I don't know if that was because it was all its time. But the show has a lot of country stereotypes. We probably shouldn't get into it all, but
No, let's get into it. Let's
Yeah.
start at the top. No, when Lynette turns back to get the
I
last...
have often said the best folk music comes from the Dutch.
And if you don't get that reference, where have you been? So when Lynette turns back to get the last word in, she sees that Karen has fallen to the ground. She runs over and briefly considers her options, looking up at her. She looks up at her hypothetical Swedish neighbors who are watching her from the road, sadly, before doing the right thing and calling an ambulance. Also, her cell phone has an antenna.
This would be the third neighbor death in such a short period of time.
They're dropping like flies.
Flies. And I also think that we haven't spoken about this yet, and it's not important, but twins marrying twins, creepy.
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 Creepy soup.
Don't like it. Weird family soup. Get them in a hot tub. Mix it up.
Okay, because that's not going to make it creepier.
So, Karen... We're on scene one. We're on scene
Cold
one.
open, baby. So this is no longer cold open. This open is cooked.
This is expired open. Also, I don't mean
We've been recording for 22 minutes.
I don't mean to scare you, but my stomach's grumbling again.
Okay, I'm obsessed with that.
Okay.
So
Jakub, for the love of God.
we should really release an uncut version as a bonus episode. Okay. So then we cut to Karen being loaded into the ambulance and asking Lynette to come with her. Lynette is resistant, but Karen is alone and she's scared. So eventually she goes into the ambulance with her. And
Before she does, sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but Lynette's excuse of why she can't
yeah.
is that she's got a roast in the freezer.
Yeah, you could see in her face the excuse falling apart mid-sentence. It was great.
Roast in the freezer is insane.
Yeah. And as they drive away, she looks out the window sadly as her imaginary family are waving goodbye to her.
It's beautiful. What I like about that, though, is that Lynette is a good person in spite of herself.
Yeah, she's like, oh, time to be a good person.
And I find that quite relatable.
Yeah, because the moral compass overrides convenience. And that, I mean, I guess that is literally the definition of like a good person. They're like, you're doing something good because it's good and not because it's easy.
Yeah, this is a great episode for Lynette.
It really is.
And then we get...
What was that? I mean that from a collective standpoint.
I was trying to pick up what you were putting down, but my hands were slippy.
I would love if people commented what genre they think our attempts best match.
I think so. Here's my thing, right? I always want to do the low bit instinctively because I have a low voice for a woman, and that is why at school I played Daddy Warbucks and Annie, and that is why I played Peter in Resurrection Rock. Okay. I think we should do this again right now, but I think you should take the high bit.
Okay.
Ready?
Did Would we eat that?
No crumbs.
Because the roast is still in the freezer.
And the cold open is expired.
It's going in the bin.
Okay.
Thank you for staying with us until this point in the episode.
Well, we get a very exciting scene next.
Yes.
Because we're going to talk about Mike.
We are.
Hello, Mr. Delfino. So, Mr. Boss Man Noah is looking at a picture of what we can now assume is Deirdre. Mike comes over in his leather jacket and flannel, looking very cute, but is going into his default setting of making fun of the man who's dying. Noah tells Mike that they found Deirdre stuffed into a toy chest, dismembered. And I think this is a great scene because it really humanizes Deirdre, because we're kind of all going along with the vibe of the mystery, forgetting that this is someone's child, this is someone's family. And this actor sells this arc so well. Like, he got me a little bit choked up.
Yeah, and he's put on such a facade of being this big, strong boss man. So when he started crying, it was kind of shocking.
Yeah, and he said, she's been dead 15 years. And then he says, and it actually got me, I have to bury my baby. I couldn't even do the voice because it was so sad. He then says he wants Mike to talk to Sullivan, who is the dodgy cop from previous episodes, to get the file on Deirdre's case.
You say dodgy cop, I say hot detective. Pick your fighter.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he noted she's been dead 15 years. Because how long ago did Felicia say that she worked in Utah with Mary Alice / Angela? Was it 15 years ago?
But also, how old is, oh wait, spoilers. How old is Carlos?
Well, that's something we simply don't know. But also, he says that the cops ID'd her from her dental records.
Yes.
But I was kind of shocked that they've only just found this out, or Noah's only just been informed about this.
Yes.
Because they've had this body since like a very early episode. We know because of how long Mama Solis was in her coma that it's been months.
Yep.
And they've only just identified her. I was like, this feels very like it was just convenient for the plot to only now tell Noah.
This also wouldn't happen now, because do you remember that famously the Golden State Killer was caught because of 23andMe?
Oh, there we go. I also think that, like, at this point, we'd all kind of made the connection and assumed Deirdre was in the box, but I think this is the first time it's, like, 100% confirmed that's who it is.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
It's Deirdre.
It's Deirdre.
In the dead of night, Mike turns up to an abandoned car park to meet Sullivan, the hot detective that Noah had been bribing to get the files on Deirdre. The cop is clearly not happy about the situation and is getting a lot of digs in about Mike being a murderer and a drug dealer in the past. Mike eventually asks Sullivan how much it costs to pay off a homicide detective these days. And the 2004 to 25 conversion website that we have bookmarked is dying to find out too. But we don't hear an amount. Instead, Sullivan absolutely beats the shit out of Mike. So out of the blue, threatening to kill him if Mike tells anyone about this.
I actually thought this was quite realistic for two reasons. One, once again, Mike is not bad boying very well. He, again, thinks he's the bad boy. I'm going to turn around and give the cop some sass and then walk away, because that's what happens with everyone else in his life. However, you're speaking to a policeman, a dodgy policeman, whose attractiveness is up for discussion, apparently. But again, I think we get another reveal here.
We do, because the exact words that Sullivan uses are, there will be one less cop killer on the streets.
And cops don't play around when you kill other cops.
And yeah, because I was like, we knew Mike had killed someone, right? But we didn't know.
Mike killed a cop. Mike's ACAB.
I hope you agree with me that objectively, the quote of the week is in this scene. Or do you disagree?
Yes. Well, it's my honourable mention.
Fair enough.
Bree and Rex are discussing Bree hoiking Andrew out of Camp Hennessy. And her reasoning is thus.
Oh, it's not this quote.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the fact that Bree's saying there are 200 other boys in this camp and my son just told us he's gay. He's getting out of here.
Yeah, she doesn't want him developing that into a lifestyle.
She doesn't want Andrew having too good of a time. Bree is adamant that she is freaked out, but it doesn't change her feelings that Andrew is gay. Andrew comes out and she says, Andrew, I would love you even if you were a murderer.
And that is my quote of the week.
But he is.
Oh my God.
He is a murderer though.
Oh my God. I've never, in all my rewatches, never made that connection. I'm too busy laughing at that line.
I was watching and going, but he is.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Mama Solis isn't even cold yet. So I love that she's basically saying, without realizing it, I was chill with the murder thing, but this is where I draw the line.
This is up for question.
Bree and Rex are sat at the dinner table, and it's a classic Van de Kamp dinner chaos. Yes. Bree is making homemade bratwurst with sweet and sour cabbage, which is something that I've written down I think you would like.
Actually, no. My mum makes stuff like that. It's very Polish as well, and it's not for me.
It's not your vibe.
It's not my jam. Rex notes that this is going to be a disaster.
Yes.
And if we know anything about dinner with the Van de Kamps, he's right.
Yes.
So Bree calls Andrew down for dinner, and she then goes to the door as Andrew notes that Danielle isn't home tonight, but there's 4 places at the table.
Suspicious.
Yes. So Rex looks like he's downing wine by the glass to get through what's about to happen.
Yep.
I think this scene really builds up suspense. So Bree...
I knew straight away.
Oh, I knew who it was, but the tone of the scene, it does make you feel a bit like... So Bree re-enters the room, bringing with her Reverend Sykes.
Psych! He's actually just a really big Mike and Susan fan.
It's Mike and Susan in a trench coat.
But also, this actor plays these types of roles so often, and he nails it every time. He is the head teacher in Gilmore Girls, and it's the same
energy.
Yeah, same energy.
So Bree offers him water, and then the Reverend dives right in. He's not beating around the bush. He says, so, your mother tells me that you've started having some sexual desires for other boys.
He literally went, so, you're gay.
Yeah. So Andrew looks at Bree and she gives him the biggest, most hilarious smile. And Andrew asked Rex if he could have some wine, but he is denied because Rex is going to need every drop to get through tonight.
What I also like is, again, as previously established, maybe intentional, maybe not, we know that alcohol makes Rex more truthful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important for the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
The Reverend is talking about Andrew's, quote, unnatural desires, to which I say, fuck off.
Yeah, I just said he just starts spraffing a bunch of basic homophobic rhetoric.
Andrew is, I think, really sure of himself in this scene. He says he doesn't hate himself, and he should not. He knows who he is. Bree is mad that then the Reverend kind of yields. He says, you know what, it's your own path, and kind of isn't going on the offense. And she says, I don't like it. She says the correct word is not gay, it's sodomy.
Yeah. And then Rex really cracks me up by saying, we're in the middle of dinner. Can you wait till dessert to call our son a sodomite?
But this scene, now, we've spoken about this before. We didn't start rating the husbands until after Rex kind of turned things around a little bit. And in this scene, Rex is one of those dads that are in the t-shirts at Pride that's like free dad hugs. He says if Andrew's happy with who he is, then it is our job to support him. Talk, Valentina, ally.
Schnapps for Rex.
It's so good, and I thought quite unexpected, actually, for him to hear this come from him. Bree quite expectedly, if I'm honest. So then decides to embarrass Rex by saying, "Your father is into S&M. He makes me beat him with a riding crop, and I let him." And basically ties the idea of Andrew's sexuality and Rex's sexuality into being perversions.
A wild choice to tell your teenage son that information. But also it's interesting because obviously this is very much comparable to the Rex cries after he ejaculates from the previous dinner party.
It's the exact same thing. Rex doesn't agree with me, and so I'm going to embarrass him for it. I really don't agree with Bree's actions here. But I do love her, but...
What I find interesting is that when it happened in episode 3, I think it was like, we get the impression, oh, this is an out of character for her.
Yes.
She's been pushed to her limit. But now it's like, oh, this is a pattern. She just does this.
Bree and Rex both leave, and Andrew gets to say to the priest, "What a fun night. We should really do this again sometime."
Yeah, and there's kind of like clown music playing, and the whole thing is played as comedy.
Yeah.
Which, when you mirror it to episode 3, is also very different tone, because episode 3 there was not any music. It was very much just you were left in the awkward silence. So they're kind of going for something different here, I guess.
I think it's such a betrayal from Bree to air this, not only just publicly, in front of their son, and also, again, she's continuously berating Rex for his sexuality. And it almost any points that she gets for trying things with him are gone because of how she shames him for it.
Yeah. And it was interesting though that Bree was the first to leave the table, because like Rex walked out the house and that's what started their whole separation the first time this happened. So that just makes it even more wild that Bree's doing this right now.
Also, Danielle, in my head, definitely heard this was happening and immediately called her friend Wendy and said, "Get me out of here. I'm staying at yours tonight. Under zero circumstances am I going to be here when the Reverend comes over. My mum has already found out that I've bought condoms. I'm getting the heat off of me tonight."
Yeah. She's buzzing about this for herself.
Yes.
It means that people will be less bothered about her.
I get this throughout the series, but I do think in season 1, it also is true, that Andrew's the favourite.
He never gets the most attention.
True.
But it's not always good attention, so I don't know if I would say favourite. But in the next scene, Bree's looking at photos of Andrew as a baby and asks him to join her on the couch. She talks about how when she was giving birth to him, there were complications, but she instructed the doctors to do whatever it takes to keep him alive. In other words, she would literally die for him. And...
Sorry. This is wild when we consider that this is the first time these two have spoken that we have seen since she said that her and her husband, aka Andrew's dad, were doing S&M.
I mean...
Then she's like, "Come look at your baby photos."
I think if I was Andrew, I would very much be in the camp of, I never want to raise this again. Let's not talk about it.
Well, if I were Andrew, I'd very much be in the camp of Hennessy.
Yeah, quite possibly. Van de Kamp Hennessy.
Van de Kamp Rock. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. But I think no one is denying that Bree loves and cares for Andrew deeply. It's just the way she's going about it that is so deeply misguided.
I know where you're about to say where this scene goes, and I'm trying to think about it from a rational perspective. How would I feel if I truly, hand on heart, believed that if my child were gay, that they would not get into heaven? How would I feel if I really believed in heaven and believed that the choice of who you love would some way impact that? If I believed that, how extreme would the lengths be that I'd be willing to go to? Because this all feels so foreign to me.
Our mindset is so far removed from that it is like physically impossible for us to kind of put ourselves in Bree's shoes there, basically.
Yes,
That's what you're trying
thank you.
to say.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I get that. But basically what happens is that she once again asks, or rather begs Andrew to talk to the Reverend again so he can get better, I say in quotation marks. But as Andrew says, and as we all know, there's nothing wrong with him. And he wonders why Bree can't just let it go. And Bree says that if he doesn't change, he won't get into heaven. And this is clearly devastating. But I think that like you say, even if that, well, it is clearly what Bree truly believes to her core.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just think that like she's very much jumping to one end of the scale rather than, even if that is what she believes, she could talk to Reverend. She could do research, think about, you know, her religion and stuff more and see, you know, I don't know. I just think that there's other things to try and things to do before jumping to the extreme end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would be more intrigued to see what conversation Bree had with the Reverend when she was inviting him over.
It seems like they're very on the same page. So I think they're an echo chamber of that whole side of thing.
I'm just trying to find any sort of entry point to understand Bree in this moment, because I do think a lot of the time she leads with her feelings, which doesn't seem like the type of person that Bree would be, because she pretends that she leads with her brain. But she's very emotion heavy.
Well, in any case, Andrew agrees to talk to the Reverend, but Bree does not realize what she has set in motion here.
No.
And they hug, and we see this expression that Andrew gives. It's quite a subtle expression, but I personally read it as like a mixture of disgust and determination.
I saw it as an idea has formed. We see Andrew and Reverend Sykes, and they're having a conversation openly in the church. They're not in any sort of confession booth or anything like that. Andrew tells the priest that he lied about being gay to get out of the camp. And the Reverend says, "Are you a heterosexual or aren't you?" And I guess I'd love to hear your take on this. My interpretation of this, Andrew uses a metaphor about ice cream, about liking vanilla, but sometimes liking chocolate. And I saw this as him thinking that where he's at in his journey of working out what his sexuality is, he sees himself more as bisexual.
I think that it's very common or at least I think at the time that I was kind of coming out, it was very common with the culture and stuff for gay people in the closet to initially go through a phase of thinking, oh, I'm just bisexual because it seemed better, which I say in quotation marks.
Yes.
And I think he might be in that phase because I think from just knowing where the show goes later, he is very much a gay man.
Yes. To be very clear, I'm not speaking for you, my sweet boy, but I also know you and know the bones of you. That is not to say that bisexuality isn't valid.
Oh, for sure.
That is to say that I agree that when people are working out what their sexuality is, they sometimes explore a few of them before they realize what really resonates with them.
Definitely. But it's also kind of hard to tell what Andrew is saying just to the priest because it's what he wants to hear. And I don't know. It was. Do you think Andrew actually told Trex that he was gay to get out of Camp Hennessy?
It's a really tricky one.
Because that's quite a big revelation, which he was clearly desperate to keep secret. And it sounds like from when they were picking him up at the start of the episode that he only had a couple weeks left there. I mean, it could have been a horrible place, but, you know.
I wonder if this is one of those... I'm not trying to cop out of an answer, but I wonder if it's one of those things where it's both true. I wonder if that was his first time saying he was gay, and he was kind of trying that on a little bit. But he's hiding behind this idea that he was lying when he said it. And because his response here, I think he thinks right now, maybe he's bisexual, maybe he knows that he's gay. But if he is still seeing himself as I lied about being gay, but I am straight, then why would he be seeking this revenge?
I mean, I think he's just not changed since Camp Hennessy, to be honest, and he's still very much like, fuck Bree, she's the bad cop, that yada yada.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Andrew tells Reverend Sykes that his plan is to basically be the perfect child until the moment arises where he can really stick the knife in and destroy Bree completely.
Yeah, he basically wants to gaslight Bree into thinking he's a good boy now so that she lets her guard down.
And
It felt very much like the villain at the end of a Bond movie,
Yes.
being like, and this is my evil plan, and twirling his mustache.
yeah, it's very mustache twirly, but also I think kind of an understandable response.
I mean, Andrew says in this scene that he doesn't believe in God, but he did genuinely seem devastated at Bree's comment that she doesn't think he'll get into heaven.
Yes.
Which was interesting, because if he doesn't believe in God, then why is it so devastating?
Yes, and I think that's the thing. And why is he looking for it's so interesting because I think the writers have really got this part right in terms of all of the contradictions that are going on within Andrew. And maybe he doesn't believe in God, but I think he believes that Bree believes in it so much that her saying he wouldn't get into heaven makes him feel unworthy.
Yeah, it's like her equivalent of just being like, I think you're an awful person for this.
And we haven't spoken about this, but she also says, and I want you to be there because I'll be so lonely without you. Which is superly emotionally manipulative. And I do think out of all of them, the four Vanderkamps, Andrew and Bree are the most manipulative.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
They definitely get that from each other.
Danielle takes after her father, for sure.
Yeah, brushing his hair. And I think that, yeah, there's something about her saying, I really want you to be in heaven. So that feels, even if it is genuine, feels like she's manipulating him by saying that.
So we're going to move on to Susan now, and we're going to kind of speed run this one a bit, because let me tell you guys, it's just the same plot from last week again.
But just dressed up to be slightly different.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have to say about this scene that I find quite fun is that Sophie, Susan's mum, has a type. And the type is men in the food industry.
Oh, there we go.
Because the first scene, she's hitting on the ice cream man. And we know that Marty has a pancake empire.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, pancake!
3 cheers for pancakes. So. Oh my
We're
goodness.
never going to get through this episode.
We need to speed run it, because I need to leave it an hour. We've got 3 arcs left.
It's fine.
Okay. Susan and the gals, sans Bree, are hanging out outside. One of the twins comes over to complain to Lynette that the line of the ice cream truck isn't moving, and Susan looks over to realize it's because her mom is flirting with the ice cream man, obviously.
Yep.
So she pulls Sophie away, and Sophie's frustrated, just trying to get on with her life after her breakup with Marty 2 weeks prior. She even tries to convince Susan to hit the clubs with her to find some hot guys.
She wants more of her food-related fellas.
Exactly. She says that they can pretend that Sophie is 42 and Susan's 28. And she can certainly say that.
And they would be pretending.
So, live your best life. And that's that. See?
What I like about this is we get, for no reason at all in this arc, a bunch of men's names. This ice cream man is called Hector. There's another man called Tim. There's another man that we'll get there because it's so significant.
And let's get there. Well, let's try and get there. On you go.
Susan comes downstairs in the middle of the night looking so darn cute, and it actually might be my outfit of the week. It's the classic t-shirt with the pants, and she just looks adorable. I'm ignoring the fact that she is meant to be asleep and has a full face of makeup on. Sophie has brought back a man called Tim. And Sophie is very much doing the rebellious daughter thing. And when Susan says, I have a teenage kid and you need to get this man out the house, even though she didn't have a care in the world when Mike had a gun and was in the house all the time. So basically, Sophie is like, I can bring anyone home that I want to. And Susan's like, it's my house. And Sophie's like, I hate you, Mom. And after Susan threatens to drop Sophie's real age, Sophie says that she will get rid of Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, this is only the second episode with Sophie, and already I'm so bored of this repeated plot line. It's like, okay, we get it. Role reversal. Let's move on. Let's get to the point.
Pack it up. Go back to Marty.
So Susan is coming home at night, and Sophie comes out excitedly to meet her at the car. Sophie has cracked the case. She's figured out just why Susan has been so furious with her. Basically, Sophie's Delulu ass has convinced herself that Susan is upset that she hasn't been including her daughter in all the fun. And so, Sophie has arranged a double date for them that night. Woo! So Susan is demanding that Sophie cancel, but when she enters the home, she finds Tim from the previous night there already with his friend from the box factory, Lamont. And Lamont, well, he's brought peppermint schnapps. And I kind of love Lamont. I don't know why. He might be my favorite character this week. Neighbor of the week.
I'm going to say I loved Lamont.
He was so good. Also, tangent. Did I give you one of the little peppermint liqueur souvenir things I brought from Germany one time?
Yes.
And how did you like that?
I liked it.
Peppermint schnapps? Great time.
I think that would be a lovely time. My only real schnapps experience is peach schnapps.
Yeah.
But
and I would like to try it in peppermint.
But also, I feel like if somebody said, I came over, I brought something. The only issue I have is that he says he brought something and you could kind of tell that the bottle's halfway finished already. But that's fine, Lamont.
Yeah, Lamont's just having a nice time. We don't know how long they've been waiting.
Yeah, I'm not good at judging people's ages, but Lamont is Sophie and Tim's age, right? And significantly older than Susan.
That I kind of read it that way, yeah.
Yeah. Next, it's a Schnapp fest. Schnapp, crackle, pop. The worst double date I've ever seen. When was the last time I had schnapps? Tim's friend does not seem Susan's type, I think it's fair to say. But Tim and Sophie are heavy petting.
Having a blast.
Borderline macking. So then, basically, Susan's trying to end the night. She does how can I say that? Susan does a shot of Susan does a shot of schnapps.
Susan does a shot of schnapps. Nailed it.
Susan does a shot of...
Leave it to the pros, babe. Susan does a shot of snaps. Damn it!
And says, let's pack it up. Let's go to bed. But Sophie wants to go to the club. And the men want to go too. To which I say, who's driving? You've all just had a bottle of schnapps.
Very valid.
Then it proceeds into an argument between Sophie and Susan in Susan's front garden. Eventually, Lamont tries to stick up for Susan, and Susan says, Lamont, give it up. You're not getting any.
It's good to be direct.
Sophie does eventually admit that she was being somewhat selfish with the double date idea, and she was doing it more for her than she was for Susan. And Susan opens up about how much she is hurting over Mike. She says, Morty was one of many men for you. Mike was the one. Jakub, what do you think about Susan calling Mike the one? Bearing in mind, I think they were together for 3 episodes.
I know that this is audio, but my face is doing the talking here. We all know that I think it's very too much, but also, I don't know, straight people be crazy.
I think it's wild. I don't know if I believe in the idea of you get one. Or you get the one.
Yeah.
I think when you love someone, if you love anybody, you shouldn't be in a relationship with anyone you don't think is the one.
Susan made it clear that she did have, over the course of the show, that she did have incredibly strong feelings for Mike.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. I just think it's crazy that she did get such strong feelings over such a short time. But hey ho, each to their own.
But do we think that Susan is just walking past the cinema, back and forward,
hoping to bump into him?
Hoping to run in?
Maybe. I'm going to the cinema today.
I know you are. You love the cinema.
Woo! Get my Cineworld card. No, I don't have one, sadly.
This is not a criticism. your accents today have been out of control. And I'm letting you know that
I need to
I
calm
love
down.
it. No.
Oh.
Double. Do it. Double it.
All right, let's go on.
So what I just said, I think I take it back.
Okay.
All right. What was that?
So, Sophie turns up to Mike's. Sophie
Turner.
Yeah, she is shocked to see him all beat up, but also too focused on her goal right now to really think about it, and immediately buys Mike's obvious lie about falling down the stairs or something.
Yeah, he's like, I fell downstairs, don't worry about it.
And she doesn't. Sophie is there to tell Mike that Susan still loves him and that she wants him to try making it work with her again, yada, yada. Mike doesn't have time for Susan right now, though, because he's just found out that someone close to him is dead, which is very fair, to be honest. And so he closes the door on Sophie and goes back to his living room where he's going through the files that the hot detective gave him. And Mike spots Paul's name on the list of people who purchased the toy chest. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I like, though... So I'm not 100% sure about all of this. But I think this might be the first time that Detective Mike has ever made any sort of connection.
Once a literal policeman gave him the answers.
And it was so spelled out for him. It was like a list of 5 names, and one of them, Paul Young. And even then, he's kind of like, I wonder if...
I would laugh if he just, or I would believe if he opened the file and went, wait, Deirdre's dead?
He's like, wait, Carlos is how old?
And that's it for Susan and Mike.
That's it for Psych and Reverend Sykes.
Yes, all the Sykes, they're done.
So we have another shot that Erin can't stand, straight out the gate. If you're wondering how I feel about this arc, I'm setting the tone now. Why are we getting so many shots of Eva Longoria's feet? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm sure they're lovely feet. I just don't understand the Quentin Tarantino obsession with the toenails.
Well, in this case, I thought it was interesting because she uses her foot to stop Carlos entering the bed after all of the times that we've seen Gaby kind of like... Her feet have just influenced her life. Like, what am I trying to say here?
Her feet have influenced her life.
Cut that.
Her feet have influenced her life.
What am I trying to say here? Like, there's been some parallel, or as you say, focus on her feet around like everything that's kind of led to this, and now she's using her foot to be like, no. Am I reading too much into this foot? You know what? Ignore me. Keep going.
So, would you say you stuck your foot in it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. So, Gaby is using her foot to make sure that Carlos does not enter their marital bed. And she's doing it wearing very cute Jimmy jammies. I'm a big pajama girl. I'm always going to notice people's pajamas. Carlos is basically saying, let me back in. Gaby is basically saying, abuse doesn't really get me in the mood to sleep with you, which I think is fair. And Carlos threatens, as a result, to cancel Gaby's credit cards. Gaby is wanting him to tear up the post-nup that we saw him force her to sign the previous episode. And they get into a weird, toxic exchange where she says, if you ever hurt me again, I'll kill you. And he says, if you ever leave me for another man, I'll kill you. And I feel like we are in a thriller. The beginning of a thriller.
Except for the fact that there's also clown music playing in the background of this scene.
I think they're trying to give it, and I think that's why they give Gaby that line where she says something along the lines of, oh, if only all this passion could turn into sex, because they're trying to make us see that as chemistry and not as toxicity.
I don't know. I think Gaby's kind of being sarcastic about the fact that there is no chemistry in this.
Oh, no, I think she's standing in these beautiful pajamas looking at him, and we know Carlos is mad for the sex.
Erin, I don't like the pajamas. They were just covered in like red blotches. I think Gaby can do better.
As someone who breaks out in hives and quite often has red blotches.
You felt seen.
I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt understood.
Yeah. So we then, or do you have more to say about that? Sorry.
No, I just don't want to move on to the next scene.
So we hard cut to Gaby looking so bored as John, the now adult gardener, is covering her with kisses.
You know who else is bored? Me.
Of this plot line.
Good God, will I ever be free from these chains?
No, you won't. Gaby is mostly there to vent, talking about how trapped she feels in her marriage. John offers up himself as a plan B, but Gaby stops him in his tracks and reminds him of their new rule: no pretending they have a future together.
But also, either this was genius writing or a coincidence I'm reading too much into. John says, now bearing in mind, after the last episode, we know that Gaby is pregnant, but we don't know who the baby daddy is, and we don't know if she knows yet. We don't know how long the last episode ago was. John says, can't I be your plan B? And they talk about how much she needs a plan B. And plan B in America is the morning after pill.
Yeah, that is a fun well, maybe coincidence, maybe not. We'll never know. But after complaining about Carlos cancelling her credit cards, John offers his student credit card, which after a pathetically short attempt to refuse, Gaby all too willingly accepts, mumbling something about how she'll pay it all back. As if she hasn't taken enough from this boy.
I think he's a bit of a pay pig.
Oh, I see that for him.
And he's still calling her Mrs. Solis. And also, the student credit card thing, I think is just a note to let us know that John has gone back to college. But he has no money. I know he has no money.
As he says, he has a thriving gardening business. He manages 10 houses now.
20
houses now, and he's this close to getting the country club.
This freaking monster of the month gone to country club. But it just, none of it makes any sense to me. It's so wild, especially after we've seen how reluctant Gaby was to accept help from Bree.
Yeah.
To then see her take money, but then is it different because to her it's a man?
Well, no, I think it just shows that she cares about Bree, and I just don't think she cares about John, really.
Mm-hmm. And then after he gives her the card, what does Gaby do? The only thing she knows how to do when a man provides finances, which is to use what she sees as the weapon at her disposal, and that's when she sleeps with him. Mm-hmm. It is BANENES.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from that horrific scene.
No. Yeah, please. So we see Gaby, who is she in a fancy restaurant? Is she at a country club?
I think she says fancy restaurant at one point, so yeah.
She has some bags in front of her, and her card payment for the bill is declined. The waiter seems, I would say, quite annoyed with her because he's ran it 3 times and he just wants to get paid. And she's kind of being a little bit rude about it, I would say. Not too much, but I didn't like it. She immediately calls up John. And where I thought this scene was going to be that she had maxed out his credit card. But it turns out that John's mum saw some unusual activity on the card. John panicked and said it was stolen, so she cancelled it. Gaby says, my quote of the week, because I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
I didn't even note this down. Go for it.
My credit card was cancelled by my lover's mommy. And at the end of the scene, we see a plan forming for Gaby because she has to find some way to pay for the bill. And she sees a man sat at another table by himself and she smiles at him. And we all know what's up.
Yeah. Because she kind of makes eyes with him at the start of the scene, and I noted him down as an older man.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, well, he's actually not that old. He's just older than by Gaby standards.
I would say he's older than Lamont.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say she's not out of a reasonable range of Gaby. You know, he's on the older end of that of the range I would see her with.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we then cut to the older man at Gaby's table, and she is flirting hard. She is grafting for this bill to be paid.
Yeah.
He asks Gaby about seeing her again, and Gaby admits, being very honest in this moment, that she's in a relationship and just stressing the point that she just wants to be honest. And so the man says, "That's perfectly okay, Tina." And I cackled. This was my honorable mention for quote of the week.
I love this. This was so funny. And I love that Gaby's fake name is Tina.
Yes, I do not see her as a Tina.
What would your fake name be? Instinctively.
Brendan.
Brendan. I could totally see you as a Brendan.
Yeah, Mary Alice, what did you do? Hosted by Brendan and
Molly.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. And
B&M.
we're like a home store. We're perfect for each other when we get our homes, if ever.
There's no place like our home store. Okay, so
the waiter takes the payment from the man, giving Gaby an extremely judgmental look, and Gaby throws him back a look which kind of just says, "And what of it?"
Yeah, I want all of it. And the next scene, we have a rare sight because my boy Carlos is in the bath. And Carlos is watching the television on a very small screen, but it's 2004. Gaby walks in, showing off her new shoes, and eventually Carlos twigs that something is up. He says, "How did you pay for them?" And Gaby essentially says, "I'm a pretty girl, and pretty girls are never lonely," implying that if he is not willing to pay for her lifestyle, she will find another man who will. And that's all I have from this scene.
No, that's all there is, really.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting. They've been playing this whole game of chicken, of Carlos being like, "I don't want you to leave me," and she's like, "Oh, but what if I do?" Oh, and they're just getting steps. Gaby obviously has been cheating on him this whole time, but as far as Carlos knows, it feels like this game of chicken, which is interesting. But that's all we got from Carly, and honestly, I don't care for it, so I'm keen to just move on to Lynette.
Remember way at the beginning of this episode, 8 years ago, where we were talking about Karen?
Nope.
Well, Karen actually OD'd on her arthritis medication, and that is why she needed to go to the hospital. And Karen is so grateful to Lynette about Lynette staying with her and being there for her that she gives her a lamp. And I think the lamp is meant to be ugly, but I really like it. It's a Tiffany lamp. It's very fancy.
I read it the other way. I read it as, I guess it's meant to be a nice lamp. I think it's ugly.
No, I loved it. Karen gives Lynette a hug, and this got me.
Lynette looks so confused by this hug. She's like, "Wait, what's happening?"
Karen McCluskey, the character is so well written, but she is a phenomenal actress. She is doing so much work with her eyes of just seeming grateful. And there is something about, if someone doesn't like you, but they're nice to you, that can sometimes mean even more. Mm. And clearly Karen feels indebted in some way to Lynette, as we see in the next scene. Lynette is running around like a headless chicken, doing all of her usual household homemaker tasks. And Karen comes over, bringing a lot of avocados. She says that the Scavos seem like the type of people who would make, and I'm using her pronunciation here, guacamole.
And I wrote in my notes, Guaca-molly, in an earnest attempt to write guacamole.
You know what? I'm going to use that in lieu of swearing. That is absolute guacamole.
There we go.
I really like guacamole. It made me laugh a lot.
When Lynette goes to head out and Karen is there with the avocados, it is a jump scare. It's very much, "How did you put your name in the goblet of fire?" energy.
It's very much, "Hey, sexy."
Yes, she's just been standing there waiting to be like, "Oh, hey, Lynette. Fancy seeing you here."
She's standing there like the squirrel in Enchanted that's like, "You are." So Karen then says, I would say Karen's trying to somewhat emotionally blackmail with Lynette by saying, we have a relationship now. I gave you that Tiffany lamp. And Karen is kind of heartbreaking here. I think she's really reaching out for connection that Lynette isn't really willing to give her. And I actually think at this point, it's not necessarily because her and Karen don't get along. It's because of the amount of work that would take to keep going, that friendship. It already feels quite high maintenance in comparison to Lynette's other friendships.
Yeah. And I understand Karen's kind of desperation for connection here, so I completely understand her actions, but it drives me insane when people attach conditions to gifts or expectations. You can't do that.
I also feel the same way about apologies.
Yes.
So basically, because of this emotional blackmail, Lynette says, you know what? You can have the lamp. Essentially saying, I don't want this friendship if it comes with conditions, which I agree with.
Yeah.
But something that I cannot forgive is Karen's shirt in this scene. Karen's shirts in this episode put Martha's to shame. It's like the clothing assistant or the clothing director, whoever was in charge of the costume department, said, look, I used Martha as an outlet for my chaotic energy, and I need someone to bounce my ideas off of. Enter Karen McCluskey.
I think Karen's fashion evolves over the course of this show because they started her off as this kind of stereotype kooky old lady and she slowly phases out of that visual aesthetic. So we'll get there. Lynette is taking in the laundry when a delivery man approaches her, asking if she'd sign a package addressed to Karen. Lynette is surprised that Karen didn't answer the door as she's always home, but she signs for it anyway. We see her leave the package at the door, ring the bell, and make a run for it.
So the next scene, Lynette notes that the package is still outside. And have you said that she runs away?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. Lynette notes that the package is still outside and she's talking to Tom about it while they're cooking. What is Lynette making for dinner? Burritos, because she's got a lot of guacamole.
I did not clock that.
Did you not? There's a giant bowl of guacamole. And she's got the mince out and it was so funny. And Tom and Lynette are kind of cute here. He's sort of making fun of her, saying, if you want to go check on her, but then you're gonna have to deal with this thing that you're already complaining about, which is the obligations of it all. Anyway, I'm off to, I don't know, play baseball.
Just saying, that's a lot of episodes in a row where you've said, oh, it's kind of cute with Tom.
Yeah, because he's only been in the scene for 10 seconds.
And that's normal. But she basically says she's worried about going over there because she doesn't want to essentially get trapped in a conversation. Yeah. And I get it. I get that so hard. Yeah. So next we see a really sweet scene. Lynette lets herself into Karen's home and finds her seemingly all right, chilling in an armchair. Karen is behaving like she wants nothing to do with Lynette, and it becomes apparent that Karen hasn't been answering the door for her package or anyone because her arthritis made it too difficult, and that the bottles of her meds for it come with a childproof cap, making it difficult for her to even open her meds.
Which is true, by the way. A lot of medication bottles are not accessible at all.
So Lynette is appalled and tells Karen that she'll be taking her to the pharmacy first thing in the morning. Karen makes it clear she doesn't want Lynette to do her any favors, someone who doesn't even like her, and certainly nothing out of obligation. But then Lynette monologues about life being full of obligations, giving an extensive list of examples, and then finishes by telling Karen that they don't have to be friends, but they're both humans on the same planet and they can at least be nice to each other once in a while.
It made me cry.
It's so nice. And so she is now Lynette's obligation. And you know what else? She's taken that lamp back. Again.
It feels like, oh God, I love this scene. It's actually going to make me emotional. We know that for whatever reason, Karen is all by herself. We don't see her with any friends. We don't see her with any loved ones. We know that her son has passed away and she presumably has no one to take care of her. And a lot of elderly people are in this position where they are being left to take care of themselves and their bodies aren't equipped for some of the tasks that they're being forced to do. And Lynette coming in, and it feels very mother-daughter energy to me. And saying, and also really echoes to what Lynette was trying to teach Edie, which was friends show up. You just got to show up. You just got to be there. And she's kind of forcing this love onto Karen. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, you were so right. I can't remember which episode it was, but it was recent when you said that Lynette's moral compass just kind of trumps everything else, whether it makes a situation awkward or difficult or inconvenient, irrelevant.
Yes, she has a really extreme sense of right and wrong. And even when she has those moments, like at the beginning, where she's like, I kind of just wish this person would disappear, Lynette will always follow what she thinks the right thing to do is in any situation. And I think the taking the lamp back is somewhat ceremonial. It's like her saying,
absolutely.
You know what? I am in your debt a bit. And I am in your life. And this is going to keep going on. But what I find very interesting is the way Karen talks to Lynette and the back and forward and that like, I'm going to pick you up at 9. Yeah, well, don't be late. And the kind of straight-laced manner of it. It's giving Edie Britt.
It is. It's giving Edie and, oh my God, Martha.
It's giving Edie and Martha.
I can't believe I almost forgot Martha. Has it been that long?
Never forget Martha
Never
Hooper.
forget Martha. And with that, we approach now our final scene.
Who thought we'd get here? Not me.
Not me. It's been another one of my journeys.
This episode is my manic episode.
How's that Zoloft doing?
The Zoloft is Zolofting. Maybe you need to take it more Zoloften. We see Lynette knocking on Karen's door and picking her up for the appointment. And again, they're kind of bickery. Karen's going, I'm coming. Carlos has ripped up the post-nup.
Which is shocking for something that's just thrown into a montage. That feels like a big plot point.
Very shocking. And Gaby lets him back into the bed. Bree is at church. Her Sunday service outfit is stunning. And she walks past after thanking the Reverend, and the priest is visibly disturbed by Andrew when he walks by. Susie Q sees Mike going out to get his mail. And Noah has that same photo of Deirdre that he's looking at.
Yeah. And the voiceover is basically talking about companionship, how life is better with a companion, giving us these examples, which Erin just described, the neighbor, the man on the other side of the bed, the caring mother, etc.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when we see Noah in the graveyard, Mary Alice finishes telling us that humans are designed for many things, but loneliness isn't one of them, which is true.
People need people.
But let me tell you, I can't wait to find a flat and just be alone there so hard.
If you think, in fact, between me and your mother, if you think you will ever be alone in that flat, sir, honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Let's talk about the husband.
Rex is doing very well for me at the moment.
He is.
He's a very good father at the moment.
I'm going to give him an 8,
I'm going to give him an 8.
8 feels right for Rex.
Yeah.
Carlos is interesting, I think, because it's so hard after the last episode to separate that and just judge him on this episode alone.
But we do have to do episode by episode.
I know, and he does eventually compromise, but it took it a long time to get there.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 4.
Yeah.
He's a 4.
Yeah, I would have maybe gone higher, but I agree ultimately.
I think less than average.
Yeah. Mike, if we're thinking of him in terms of Susan, he said, I don't have time for Susan. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Susan is in the pile of women that Mike has forgotten he's ever dated. He's like, Deirdre, who? Ex-wife, who? Susan, Who?
If we think of him in relation to Deirdre, who we know he had a relationship with, he's doing everything he can to find answers.
No, he isn't.
Hey, I'm not saying he's good at it. I'm not saying his ability is high. He's out here trying.
He was given two pieces of paper in this episode. One with the murderer's name and one with like with where the body was. And he still was like,
I want to rate him higher than Carlos, though.
I'm giving him a 5.
I think 5 seems right. And then Tom, I reckon Tom's a 6, 7.
He's a 5. You can give him more if you want.
I think 6 then, because
6 then, fine.
You know, we had a cute moment with him and Lynette. We didn't have any cute moments with Mike and Lady. So I think we gotta, you know, if we're ordering them, then there has to be some difference in the score.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Okay, that feels realistic. Worst neighbor?
Well, this is interesting.
I've not actually thought about it. I'm gonna decide right now, live on the pod.
So my monster of the week is Susan's mum, Sophie.
Ooh. I think my monster of the week has got to be Reverend Sykes.
That's actually such a good shout, actually. Maybe I should switch them about.
Because I'm giving Sophie worst neighbor for holding up the ice cream van line. The kids got, you know, they don't have that much free time.
Okay.
They go to bed early. They've got to get the ice cream while they can.
This is very chaotic because my brain is going in circles. I'm giving best neighbour to Carrie McCluskey for those avocados.
Sure, absolutely.
And for the cute lamp. I would say worst neighbour is Hector the ice cream man.
So they're perfect together. Two worst neighbors.
And yeah, I think Sophie is my monster of the week. Just
That's
because
fair.
she has that monster vibe where I'm like, we just have to defeat her. And I think she was somewhat defeated by the power of love by the end of the episode. We haven't really spoken about her going to Mike. It does feel like the first non-selfish choice that we have seen her make.
Yes, but equally, you've specifically talked about this before, not wanting your mum to talk to any man that you're in having a connection with
100%.
behind your back.
Especially when the fact that we don't hear any conversation afterwards, because my mum, okay, I'm in love with Mike. My mum knocks on the door to talk to Mike. Mike says, oh yeah, I just fell down the stairs. My mum immediately, but by the time the door closed, would have me on the phone going, I think Mike got in a fight and lost quite embarrassingly.
Are you sure about this guy?
Are you sure this is your pick? I don't think he could defend you. Also, he had a crazy, murder suspect wall in the back, and everything was misspelled, and there were so many question marks.
Couldn't be Sophie.
Couldn't be Sophie. She had some great outfits this episode, by the way. Her date outfit where she's wearing that burgundy, no shoulder top.
She knows how to work it. She's finding so many men. She's a seasoned pro at this.
Yeah, well, she's only 42.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because that's how old one of my sisters are 42.
Wow. Well, next week we're hitting episode 20. I was about to say double digits. We're in double digits.
Double decades.
Yes. This episode has felt like double decades to record, but
well, all I do is try and make you smile, and
it worked. Anyway, that's the end of this episode.
All right, what would you say is your best accent that you can do?
I simply can't do accents. There is no good accent I can do.
I do a good Kermit the Frog.
Do it. Oh, I thought you just meant country or regional accent.
Oh.
I didn't think about the word you're looking for is impressions.
Well,
Kermit doesn't have the Kermit accent from people from Kermitown.
Well, it's his frog dialect.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Now I feel embarrassed. But yeah, that's the best I can do. But and also, Boss man.
Yeah, Boss Man, regardless of good or bad, will remain my favorite.
Anyway, we love you all very much. Thank you for all of the support that you've given on all of our latest reels and TikToks in particular.
Yeah, we just hit 1,000 streams, so that's fun.
Which is chaos. And also we've had some really nice messages from people that we don't know who listen to the pod, which feels crazy.
Yeah,
So,
and that is so meaningful, genuinely, because obviously, like, we love our friends and family who listen, but it's like, yeah, of course you're going to say nice things about it.
yeah, and as usual, if you have any ideas for segments, or we have had somebody get in touch with an idea for potentially a future guest star to reach out to, which is very exciting. So just let us know. Just hit us up. We are modded on absolutely everything. And for the things we're not, we're modded pod. So marketing manager.
Anyway, I am desperate to go to the cinema. So until next week, I hope the rest of you stay desperate.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to check out our Instagram for visuals, behind the scenes content, and more.
You can find us by searching for Modded, that's MEWDYD.
Or just search for Mary Alice, What Did You Do?
This podcast is brought to you entirely by us, Erin McGee.
And Jakub Tanzi. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to leave us a review. It really helps us out.
Join us next time for another episode of Mary Alice,
What Did You Do?